Morning, Dan.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. It's time. We have the lawyer, our attorney here, so we can go.
It is 9 o'clock.
I know, it's right. The bell rang. Good morning, I'm Bill Kanda, Custer County Board of Commissioners Chairman. This is Thursday, February the 27th, 9 a.m. So if you have a cell phone with you, silence it. Mr. Yule Man. Bring him in. And we will meet now. So let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yep.
Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we are gathered here today to conduct business of our wonderful county. We ask you to watch over us, help us make the managerial decisions that are needed to be made this day. We ask for you, and we ask for your guidance and blessing, not only for today, but for every day forthcoming. We do this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Kanda?
Here.
Commissioner Beck?
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong?
Here.
County Attorney Dan Slater?
Here.
And Clerk to the Board, Kelly Kemper.
Thanks, Kelly. Audience introduction.
BOCC admin, Caitlin Womack.
Jeff Luthier, U.S. Forest Service.
Destiny Chapman, District Ranger, U.S. Forest Service.
James Gilbert.
Bianca Draper.
Gina
Graham.
Did you get that?
Jim Chaplin, Vince Bowdenbridge.
And you get to say it. Okay, thank you. Have we got one online still?
We have 4 online now.
4.
We have Custer County Landfill, Jeremiah Coleman, John Prince, and Road Bridge 1.
Good. Okay, thanks. All right, and with that, we got some items. Lucas? First of all, anything to amend the agenda with?
No.
Oh,
No current.
and we're good here as well. Go ahead.
Don't approve the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 20th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as presented. Discussion.
None for me.
It's all good. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Yep.
Aye.
Song.
Aye.
Aye, you can. Okay, commissioner items. Lucas.
Nothing much to add today. Just working through AP processes, trying to streamline those better and add more monitoring functions to those, so. That's pretty much what I've been trying to work on the last week since our last meeting.
Nothing else to bring up? Go ahead, Paul.
I attended the weed board meeting yesterday, and nothing real new, just went over the agenda. Their plan for the next tour of the weeds in the valley and everything. They're getting those set up date-wise and everything. Those will be forthcoming. A very good meeting. And I believe we had 2 new weeds to be added to that list, so I'll have that next meeting. That's all I have.
Good. Can you hear us all right? We'll speak louder, and remember, if you have a question,
Give us
keep
a
it
little
loud too.
phone.
Yeah.
Thumbs up if we need to speak up.
So a couple quick items. A little bit of road and bridge construction occurred at the courthouse, if you've seen it, in the back of the building. Reason for that was to make the parking lot a little bigger and for our employee parking to be out there, so that during trials that are of value and important with a lot of people coming, it allows better traffic flow and gives our employees a place to park. So if you get a chance to look at it, did a good job, Vince. Thanks for the help. Although he did rip the crap out of all the stuff underneath the ground, but it got fixed. So but he did a great job, thanks.
During that construction, the sidewalk, entrance was closed.
Oh, on the sidewalk, out
Side-
front, you're
yeah.
talking about that. Yeah, and I think Lucas brought it up last time, the sidewalk project's gonna get started. When is that gonna be?
Probably in
the front yard.
Yeah.
May, June, somewhere time in there.
That'll allow for other parking to be in the back as well during that time, so it helps a bunch. The only other thing I want to bring up is, we're gonna make sure that if you've got comments, we welcome them on the things that we're talking about to vote on. But we're not gonna debate it, we just, if you have a point to make it, and I get some complaints, not from a lot of people, but a lot of them that are online couldn't hear when we have a conversation back and forth. So let's not get into that, I'll cut you off, and if you have something to say that's a repeat of somebody else's, that's, it's unique, well, I'll let it go, but otherwise, we're gonna try to streamline these meetings and get them off and over with so we can get on to other things that you're paying us to do as well. So, thanks. And with that, I think, if there's any attorney item, Dan, is there a couple things you might want to bring up?
Yeah, we were served with a lawsuit involving the Trinity Ranch a couple weeks ago. It's not real clear why the county was named as a defendant in that lawsuit, because in looking at the complaint, there's nothing in there that involves the county per se. What I'm guessing is that it's what's called a partition action, which is where property owners are trying to split up property that they own into their own names. And in theory, if they were to use that to try to subvert the subdivision process that the county has, the county would have an interest. But this is these are parcels that are 1,000 acres or more, so they shouldn't be subdividing into less than 35-acre parcels, which the county has no business, really very little business in 35-acre parcels or more. So I've asked the attorney why he named us in the lawsuit, and I haven't gotten a response. We have an answer due next week, so I'll file an answer and just kind of monitor it, but I don't anticipate us taking it. This isn't something that will be covered by insurance, so I'll just kind of monitor it, but I won't take a real active role in it, because I don't think we have an active role in it, other than to object if there's a proposal that they create parcels less than 35 acres.
Yeah, it was a surprise for sure. Anything else? Okay. How about,
I filed the 2024 CTF, or Conservation Trust Fund report with DOLA this week. And everyone that applied for 25 funds, except for one entity, has received their money.
okay. All right, unfinished business. I don't think we have any. Do you have anything, Brandon?
Not currently.
All right, we'll move right along. Accounts payable. And this is as you all know, make a public announcement here, we divide the accounts payable in half. First half of the month, and this is the last half of the month. This is total accounts payable today is $168,890.53. And I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Anybody else?
No, all looks wrong.
No, I will say this, and I'm hoping this is what gets put in the paper of record every month, is that we're figuring out how to enter our credit card statements so that everything that goes on the credit card gets listed out, both in front of us, which has kind of been a problem for a while. But we're getting that process dialed down, and training put out there for all of our clerks and entities that do pay their bills and make their credit card payments. So just to put some more transparency out there on it and what goes on those cards, because otherwise all we saw was a charge to UMB for say $3,000, and well, who knows what's on it. So without looking into the fine details, so we're trying to get that better and in front of the public better. So.
And for those that have been following the audit trail, that is one of the big items all the findings in the past are being met, and Lucas is doing a great job of flagging those that have been resolved. And they'll always be on record, but we've gotten to the point where one of these is tracking those receipts was a big deal. Thanks.
The other thing on receipts is turn in the travel and everything early, don't hang on to them, process as soon as possible. It'll make the end of the month paying those bills and everything a lot easier. Timely manner on the turn.
All right. Any questions?
No.
Questions out here? You haven't seen them yet. But you got one, bring it back to us. Okay, all in favor of approving these?
Well, we gotta have a
Whoops,
motion.
excuse- We need a motion first.
Need a motion. I make a motion we accept the approval invoices that Lucas was talking about. I need a dollar amount. In the dollar amount of $168,890.53. Make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so now it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Wilson, aye.
Canada, aye. Next on the agenda, Resolution 2507 is the general fund wage adjustment we talked about the last meeting. And Vernon's back. Speak loudly, Vernon.
Yeah.
Good morning. So 2507 encompasses the wage adjustments for the 10 fund in the amount of $11,205 appropriated from fund balance to go into the the salary and benefits lines for the clerk and recorder, assessor, landfill, and recycling. Once again, $11,205 for the 10 fund, which is the general fund.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-07, resolution for supplemental budget appropriation.
I will second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and this is a resolution appropriating additional sums of money to defray expenses in excess of the amounts budgeted for Custer County. Two sections that are important. This is a total of $11,205, and it's to move it out of the 10 fund, and this is the appropriation to be designated to specific salary and benefit account lines within the budget of the clerk and recorder, assessor, landfill, and recycling.
And our benefits line is retirement as well as payroll tax. We haven't split those out. We'd like to get those split out here. I don't know, maybe next year we'll get those split out, but that's quite the chore to do, so. Just one step at a time, slow and steady, so, but we'll get that out, so there's, payroll tax is not a benefit, so.
It's coming in line.
So we're getting there, but anyway.
Got any questions?
Not at this time, no.
Any questions?
Yeah, that's good.
Anybody? All right, now it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of approving resolution number 2507 to adopt a resolution for supplemental budget and appropriations, say aye. Paul?
Aye.
Lucas?
Aye.
Canada, aye. Okay, next up, Vernon.
Okay. Resolution number 2508. This is also for the wage adjustments, but this is specifically for the Custer County Road and Bridge Fund. An appropriation of $23,475 appropriated from fund balance and moved into the salary and benefit lines for the Road and Bridge Maintenance Department. Two sections specifying the appropriation, and section 2 specifying where it's going to go for and its specific use.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-08, resolution for supplemental budget and appropriation.
Wilson, I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2508, resolution for supplemental budget and appropriation. the road and bridge. Any discussion?
No.
Good out here. All in favor of adopting resolution number 2508, resolution for supplemental budget and appropriation, say aye. Lucas.
Aye.
Paul.
Vogelsong, aye.
Panda, aye. One more.
Resolution 2509. This is a resolution to move the funds that you approved for the purchase of the wood chipper. Custer County Emergency Services Fund has a fund balance. We'll be moving $49,500 from the fund balance into the, as outlined in section 2, the capital purchases, specifically for the wood chipper for fire mitigation. In the 50 fund.
I'll make the motion that we accept resolution number 25-09 for the wood chipper for $49,500.
I'll second. Emergency Services Fund is 60. Right?
They have a capital.
Oh,
line
okay,
for the-
Okay,
That's capital.
all right, I got you. I'll say aye, okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2509, a resolution for supplemental budget and appropriation. Resolution appropriating additional sums of money to defray expenses in excess of amounts budgeted for Custer County. As described. Any other discussion?
No.
Oh, okay.
No questions as read.
Yeah, we've been through this twice.
Yeah.
Jim?
Who's the granting agency of the grant?
Was this covered by a grant? I thought this
Yeah.
was
Half of it. It's coming to half.
fund
of it.
balance.
Yeah.
Fund
half of
balance
it
is the
is.
other half.
Okay. All right.
Brought that up the last meeting, I don't have it.
Just a minute, I'll see if I
I don't,
can look it up.
Pretty sure it's
I
this.
remember reading.
It's the Colorado State Forest Service Financial Assistance Program.
Right.
It was 40 bucks.
Yeah, this was deferred to this meeting to adopt. Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Okay, all in favor of adopting resolution 2509? Say aye. Lucas.
Aye.
Paul.
Vogelsong, aye.
Kanda. These are all three of them? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I get off on that in a minute, let's,
Is there anything
You
else
got
for me,
anything else?
gentlemen?
I don't believe so.
All right, thank you.
okay, next on line is a multimodal transportation and mitigation operations funding grant for the sidewalk project we mentioned earlier when we were discussing. You got it.
So we originally got awarded out of the multimodal transportation mitigation options funding grant for the sidewalk project. So we used up roughly about $100,000 doing engineering the project. There's roughly $150,000 left for the construction. And with the price and cost of inflation, Tom Pettit from CDOT reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you go for another $50,000 to make sure that we can cover construction cost as well as maybe have some project management cost, because Custer County really doesn't have the personnel to manage this project. So I said, okay, is there any match? Nope, there's no match with this. It's purely funded. I believe a lot of these funds come out of fees and some of it comes from the highway use tax fund. So it's not property tax funded. So I'm just basically making a public acknowledgement for you guys to see whether we want to approve going after this grant and further this. I got the draft in right before the deadline, but I have to finish up this before the 7th of March. So, and they didn't have a lot of comments on the draft, so looks like it should be fairly easy, but, we'll see.
How come it came up now? How did it?
Matt Pettit with CDOT told me about it, so I
Sounds
said there was money left in
Sounds
there,
real
so.
good.
it's a good idea.
So, they think the 150 will cover the costs, but he said, just in case it doesn't, because we haven't gone out for RFP on it, all we've got is the engineer's estimates of what the cost, we think the cost will be. But who knows, and there is contingency built into it, but you never know if that contingency is gonna be enough, especially under old stuff that we have no idea what might be there, so.
And the cost going up.
If you guys are okay with me going for that grant, I'd like to see a motion.
I move that we apply for the grant as you presented.
As a motion.
That's my motion.
I'll second that motion that we apply for the grant.
The Multimodal Transportation and Mitigation Options Funding Grant
For the sidewalk project.
for the sidewalk project.
The sidewalk project. Custer County sidewalk.
Anybody else?
So the total cost would be $300,000 all in, so.
That'll be good to get that done. Make it safer out there.
Yep.
Questions, anybody? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Vogelsong, aye?
Kanda, aye. Okay, up next, the Wet Mountain Valley Agricultural Collective Grant. Come on up. This is beyond it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Fine.
Introduce yourself and speak loud
Speak
that
I
way.
gotta speak that way or this way? This is the hot seat. I gotta speak in both
You
directions.
gotta go
I
both
guess.
ways, but kind of cock yourself.
Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. So I'm just gonna kind of give an overview of the project. I don't know what you guys know about this yet or what you've heard.
Speak very loud.
Loudly.
Okay. So we have come up with a project and an idea with tourism funds as lodging taxes are earmarked for promotions through the state of Colorado. To reach out and promote and include the ranchers and agricultural products of this valley, to the people who live here, people driving through, people who are staying for short term or wanting to move or, sometimes spend a week or a month, so they know what we have to offer, but I'm also building a pretty large database, just so informationally we know what there is in this valley. We've gotten an overwhelming positive reaction from the ranchers and the agricultural producers. Everybody's over the top excited about it. Our first step on this, for me, was to build this database, and at this point, I'm up to 55 or 60 different agricultural producers participating for sure. I keep digging more people out, and I still have a few I haven't connected with, but almost every ranch that I've talked to will be participating at this point. A few of them only because they didn't feel like what they have at this point really would be, a benefit to this project, and not that it was a negative response. They just kind of, what they do doesn't pertain. So I've built this database. I've had personal conversations either in person, by phone, some only by email. As far as gathering the information, we want to, it started with the idea to go on the Wet Mountain Valley tourism site. Each ranch will have their own personal page describing what they do, how they do, the quality of what they do, what sets them apart, how they want people to contact them within what they do and how they do it, so it's not an inconvenience to them. They don't have to change anything. We're just basically assimilating information and getting it out to people who want to purchase from them. One of my goals is to be able to, have this network of communication in the valley so that people that are producing ultimately would have the ability or, local resources to connect with each other, so that, basically from beginning of the product to the end of the product, if you will, calf to steak on the plate, more of that profit goes to the rancher's pocket, the agricultural producer's pocket. And it looks like, I mean, I could have never imagined the bounty that we have here, and the positive response from everybody has been fantastic. So it's just been snowballing. Everybody's very, very excited about it. The ranches that at this point are either helping with this project, like the Giroux, Twyla Giroux has been helping me with this, Montana Canterbury from West Coast Meats has been helping me with this, but the people so far jumping in, Giroux Ranch with their beef, John Rusher, Caitlin Rusher, Kent Beach and Trent Stafford talked to them, Stolfus's, Wolf Springs, Seifert, Samuelson, Fivey, Angus, Beneach, Camper Ranch, Tanner Camper, Kanda, Elizabeth, and Robert, Montana, I already mentioned him. Bud Dunn Working Ranch, Myron and the Seegers over at Happy Trails, Forestdale Ranch, Elon Music Meadows, Theros Acres. There's a few more, I was kind of scribbling them quickly, but above and beyond that, the beef for consumption, cow, calf, hay, greens, grass and alfalfa. We have hogs in this valley, yak, lamb, goat, buffalo, I can't read my own writing, goat cheese and products, which is actually quite an operation, eggs, produce, vegetables, greens, honey, CBD, lavender, plants, seeds, herbs, alpaca, grains, feeds, still probably expanding. So as you probably already know, but I've talked to all these people, they're participating, very excited, everybody's coming together on this project. So it expanded to the point where we thought how nice would it be to have a collective market downtown. So we've spoken to the gentleman who owns the building on 3rd and Main. It has a name.
Hanson Hall.
Hanson Hall. And he has wanted to put that building towards a use. I've talked to him on occasion over the years for something community-minded for a long time. He was going to put something in there himself. He's put all his own plans aside with the excitement of he really wants that building to go for this idea. And we talked through as far as what the cost would be, what the needs would be. My history is in food service and culinary. He has a bakery in Nederland. We brainstormed maybe even having a daily operational little food outlet like a bakery or something in there, but mostly a market, but then also for the other agricultural products in the valley, there could be an informational station for people who are trying to find the information on, like, I need calves or hay or alfalfa or whatever. Possibly a couple other ideas. So there's an amount of money that we've thought through as far as what we need to accomplish that. On top of, the web pages, social media, radio, print, and advertising literature that we're going to do on the first part of the thought of this project to make now possibly this building happen. So that's what we're here for today, to explain the project, what it started as, what it's continuing as, the overwhelming positive reaction from the entire valley floor and the ranchers and the agricultural producers in this area to go forward with this. So we're here to ask for, we have to ask permission to get a bigger grant for the marketplace for the collective. I think that's my notes.
Okay, just a couple quick questions from
Yes.
me, just to clarify. What about Wetmore? What about the
Yeah,
rest
if
of
this
this?
is, I apologize. So this is Custer County and Wetmore.
And
Wetmore,
The Wet Mountain.
Mountain Valley, I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
Wet Mountain Valley and Custer County. So we have, Forestdale Ranch, there's, at this point, I want to say 4 ranches that I have in the Wet Mountain area. There's another ranch south of Wolf Springs that was 8 to 10,000 acres donated. Gonzales is going to be, it's going to be an educational ranch to basically Dan and Corey Gonzalez. He's the ranch manager for Samuelson, and they're going to be doing hay, hunting. Hunting is involved with that too. Some ranches do hunting, horse training, greenhouses. It's going to be an educational ranch, so they're kind of part of this. So
What about the
even
Navajo Nation? information.
Yes,
We have a
they're
meeting with them
incredibly
tomorrow.
excited. Yeah, we're gonna go tour the ranch. They are very excited about a market, location, a brick and mortar location. If there's anything they can do, on their end to help with it, they are offering every level of assistance they can. We haven't really spoken with them. I've spoken to them on the phone, but we're gonna brainstorm that.
A quick other question then.
Yes.
How is it the same, you kept the same communication, dissemination? Who's in charge? How do
Right
you-
now, me. Right now, I'm the one who, this idea came up. I don't know how much you guys know about me. I'm a little bit of a
Why
tenacious
don't you introduce
person.
yourself and
Yeah.
your background?
Okay, well, my name's Bianca Trinker. I own Ravens Lodging. My life I've spent in hospitality. So I went to culinary school after high school. I apprenticed at Disney. I went to Miami. I've been in South America, lived there for my 20s. I went into adventure tours. I'm from Manitou Springs, with a mixed conservative and liberal background, having military bases where I grew up and the German heritage, as well as growing up in Manitou Springs. My dad had an accident, so I took over his building, went into retail. My family's been in retail, so that's hospitality, and had an art gallery there for 13 years. Manitou is just too busy and overrun for me, so this is my new hometown. I've adopted you, whether you want me or not, I'm here. And lodging was my foot in the door here, again, hospitality. I talk to people that stay here, that live here, that want to live here, and that's kind of how my brain works. That's just how I function. I saw a need for this, and once I started diving into it, the positive reaction and the energy behind it and the excitement of everybody, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Deb has been, like she always is, she's dug out more information and grants and, we can do this, we can add this. So she supported. We hired Gina, the grant writer, who's going to help us, also with this possibility. And it's my off season. This is a positive, fantastic thing to do. Everyone's excited, so why not?
So that's the last question I had then is you kept saying grant. So what is the grant? What's the mechanism and who are you? Who pays it? How much is there involvement and what's the hit on the county? What does the county need to do?
Well, I'm
Well, let her
gonna
talk.
turn that
Yeah,
over to
yeah.
her because, that's where she gets
Because
involved.
there's gotta be a catch here.
Not too much.
Well,
No,
we
look.
could actually add a catch.
We what?
We could add a catch.
Hey,
Okay, I'm Gina Graham. I'm a 2-year resident, full-time resident of the Valley. I'm a professional freelance grant writer. Have done it my whole career in healthcare and nonprofits, and am happy to be here and working on behalf of the community here. This project is kind of tailor-made for funder interest. It's got elements of job creation and retention, economic resilience, entrepreneurial ecosystems, just to use some of the buzzwords, and capacity building. So it's a super exciting project that funders are very interested in. Part of what I do is a research a funding strategy to come up with the funders. I've got a list here, which is an initial research of about 28 opportunities. 2 that are top of mind right now, with due dates in the next couple of weeks, and why I was hired, a DOLA grant that is specifically for rural economic development. So we are it is tailor-made for a community like ours. And the grant amount of the DOLA grant is up to $100,000. There is a match component, and we're exploring those parameters. We'll be talking with the DOLA regional manager to get some of their values on the match. And then a second one is a much smaller grant from the Betcher Foundation, also for rural economic development. That's a $10,000 grant. And they're both due mid-March. So I think if it's okay for me to say, what we're needing is your approval to pursue
these funding opportunities, to move ahead and to submit the applications by deadline and to continue working the funding strategy.
So
Is that a fair way
It's
to?
a Custer County grant that you're asking us to support,
Yes, through the tourism board.
and tourism can spend some of their money on it. Is that what
So this is part of, how we asked for more money, and we've kind of put it under a Valley Proud initiative. So the same way that we're working with the airport and marketing them, this is another thing, and it really has been exceptional with the response that Bianca has gotten from the ranchers. It's almost like they're hungry for it, to come together and to let people know, like the thing that I didn't know, we have a farm in this valley that's been producing high altitude seeds for 40 years, but nobody knows about them. So we want to bring more attention to the bounty and the quality of the product that is in the valley.
And on top of like big picture on that, right now a big concern of society in general is clean food, farm to table, ranch to table, and eating and consuming local. And here in Westcliff, I've been all over this state. I've been to half the United States. To find a community that produces this much high quality, great things, and people don't know about it. And it's the heritage of the ranchers. These are hobby ranches. There's starting to be a few. The Western Slope, a good part, are the millionaires and billionaires that have bought up those ranches. Elizabeth, Front Range, Lake Palmer, Monument, all that, Falcon, Callahan, we know how that used to be. And now it's all housing projects, and every ranch and every farm is being taken over further and further east. To find a valley like this where everybody is still the families that were running it in the beginning and hoping to pass on to their next generations, the bigger the profit, the more the middleman you can cut out, the more, if you can excuse the word, modernization of the connections that you can make from the consumer and the money that's to be made to pay off the hard work that these folks do and the lifestyle that it is. That helps not only, it helps the people living here and doing the work as well as the people looking to consume what they're making. It's just a matter of connection, promotion, and creation. And that location on Main and Third, you have the Texas stripes by that corner. And
So does California.
I think all of Texas drives by that corner.
And if there was, you're driving by that corner, it's been an hour since there, you get to go, where's the Westcliff beef, where's the produce, oh, I smell bread, oh, there might be a hamburger in there, whatever. It really would be the pinnacle for a big point.
Paul's got a question.
Question about the website. Is it gonna be multi-connection, so if they get on the website and they want a certain product, can you search product-wise? And when they click on, hey, we'll go to the list of everybody, I just wanna make sure it's
That's what we're
multi.
looking for. And then eventually when, at some point, we're supporting the creation of this, at some point, somebody will have to then, we'll turn it over to a governing body, and how that looks at this point, who knows? And then maybe they have their own, at that point, they can branch off of their own. But this, at this point, would be all piggybacked on the Wet Mountain Valley tourism site to have one database there that already exists. And
Just wanna make sure it had the loops in it.
contracted to manage it,
The
yeah.
other thing is have you gone to, I'm in District 2, so everything to the east, in Wetmore area, are they aware of it?
I'm trying the best I can to dig people out. My next level of this is also horse ranches. There's 3 or 4 that I've connected
Right.
with and I still need to talk to. As far as beef, if you know connections above me, I have my notes here. I'm digging people out as I can. At this point, 3 or 4 ranches that are pretty decent producers are going to be.
I'll get with you on that and everything, because we will be doing meetings in Wetmore also, which is a little more local for them to come into.
Absolutely.
So we have put a press release in the Tribune, hopefully the Sentinel will print it, reaching out to people that we haven't found. And so if you do have any connections, really just send them to us via email.
Carter
Well, and
number.
I'll give you my number, but if you lose it, it's on the sign on Main Street.
Okay.
So you can't ever lose my number.
Okay, will do, thank you.
Okay, have another one that will lead into Lucas here a little bit. So if we support it, what grant are you going for? How much are you going for? And if we do support it, I've been involved in this before, where we say, we'll do this. DOLA goes along with it and says, yeah, you can do it, but you gotta match 20%. And then we've gotta figure out where the 20% of 100,000 comes from.
Yeah, and we're exploring that very, very
So we need to
question
know
right
before
now.
Before we get blanket,
Pardon me?
we
Was
we
there a
need to
question?
know those amounts to do a budget before it's just a blanket, okay, go do it.
Maybe whether we can afford it or not, but I'll let Lucas ask them.
Well, that they're coming in and telling us, hey, we're gonna start looking at grants, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
We need to do that. We'll hammer out the details in time as time goes on. And I know we don't have a lot of time, because there's a lot of grants that end in mid-March.
Right.
All over the March
Big
timeframe.
flurry.
But if we need to hold a special meeting, or we need to have, a workshop to work through the details, let us know, and we can work through those. We don't have a lot in tourism to match a lot or to cover the whole amount. So I'm hoping that it's a, 10% or less match, so that, we get the most bang for our buck there, but.
Yeah, and the reason we're here today is because you don't have a meeting the first Thursday of the month, and the grant is due on
Right.
March 12th. The three of us have been meeting on a regular basis to try to really cram things together quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been
And as
known
well as
to
the
have people
momentum.
ask for a grant the day after it's due.
Yeah, as well as the momentum, like this has started literally up to maybe 3 months ago. I don't even think it's been 3 months, and it's just, I mean, it has just exploded with momentum, so that's why all of a sudden, we're here.
And the thing is that, these are hardworking ranchers. Marketing is not their thing. So that's where we come in, that we market what they have to offer. So that's our piece in it.
You guys are acting like a co-op, right? Putting a cooperative together.
Yeah, we didn't want to use that word though.
Yeah, co-op
Well,
is
that's-
not reacted to as well, and
No,
it's
it-
not gonna be, we haven't figured out the format of exactly when we hand this over eventually, how it will be organized, but a co-op,
Well, it's gonna have to be self-sustaining
it will be,
somehow.
and it will have to be self-sustaining.
Because we're not in the business, as you
Right.
know, to do that as a
But
county.
exactly, but at the same time, this is starting with county funds, and so whoever takes it over has to include all of the county and Wet Mountain Valley, so it can't be like an exclusive thing, because these are public funds, so co-op, you're shying away from that more than a collective, and then how
Right.
that
Makes sense.
eventually gets to be organized.
Okay, well, I'll move that we support the initial start of this process to explore that grant, what it'll be later. Doesn't guarantee that we can pay for it in the future, depends on what it comes back. So I'll move that we.
Yes, March 12th.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion. Vote.
Okay, any other discussion, questions, Jim?
Yeah, discussion. This is the first I've heard the detail of this whole thing, and it's brilliant. I lived a long time in Northern California. This sounds very much like wine country, but it's ranch country. So you've got the ranchers are able to market because they're wares. They're probably able to develop a ranch tour side, come on in, see what's going on. There's gonna be ultimately a market for local and tourists. The farmer's market in the summertime seems to be mostly out of county people coming in. Maybe the craft people are local, but a lot of the vegetables and stuff, or fruit for sure, the peaches come from who knows where.
Palisades.
Yeah, it's way over there. I went by it last time I came home. Anyway, to me, this, with the enthusiasm of the people in the valley, this is brilliant, and I think you would be really, really making a mistake if you didn't enthusiastically support this, even though you may have to match the money. Just find the money, even if you have to take it out of general fund or contingency. This would be perfect.
Any other comments?
So the other piece of this, so this is kind of a vision and we're planting a seed and we're trying to nurture that seed. And one of the forward-thinking things is that in 2027, it is our 150th anniversary of Custer County. I can't say that word, sequential or whatever it is, but yeah, that's it. So we've also kind of let the ranchers know, when you think of the history of Custer County, okay, so you have mining and you have railroad, but that's just a tiny little piece of our history and a piece that doesn't exist anymore. But what does exist from long ago to now is ranching. So we are also looking at possibly in 2027 having some sort of major county event that celebrates the 150th anniversary, with the ranching and agricultural producers being the showcase.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, another.
What was your name again?
Gina.
Gina.
Graham, yeah. Another aspect of the possibilities here are including youth eventually. We've talked
Right.
about the Future Farmers of America, the 4-H groups, et cetera. And funders are going to be super interested in that. There's elements of this that we can continue to secure funding for towards the sustainability of ranching in this valley and growing new owners, new ranches, et cetera, through the youth.
Okay, good. Other questions?
And my only other thing was, I really do appreciate the possibilities, the support in the statement. Is there a way to vaguely state something like, would be possible match of up to 20,000 if it's available, just so that
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how that
You
process
gotta,
works.
you need to see the options first.
Yeah. Is there a way
Some
to,
specifics.
on a timeline, get together and present that if you
Well,
have a
let's see,
meeting again before, after the?
When did you say the,
March 12th.
So we don't meet before the next,
Right.
before that deadline. But I mean, it's
And
not
that's
uncommon,
$100,000 grant, so.
it's not uncommon for us to approve the seeking of a grant.
Right.
We have to approve the acceptance of the grant.
that's right.
And that's
what
where
you get to that,
the funding comes in.
because we've done that before.
And is that at the point it's awarded?
Yeah, once it's awarded, then we
Yeah.
would have to vote to
Yeah.
accept the grant.
Yeah.
Right.
And allocate the funds.
Okay.
What do we have in tourism budget to put towards that, do you think?
Well, so if you remember that we kind of threw out some figures for airport marketing, for this agricultural collective, and for our destination development. And I think that total was $35,000 total for those three initiatives. And as John Van Doren kind of, I think, alluded to, so we asked for an increase of 35,000, that we would wiggle those figures depending upon what we need. So that's kind of what we're working with. More than likely, we will definitely be spending the 5,000 for the airport marketing after that meeting. And then the destination development mentor program, we had put $20,000 into, but we don't necessarily need to spend it on that, that we could take some of that and put that into the agricultural collective initiative.
There's another thing that's on the horizon, and that's at the state level, they want to increase the bed tax from 2% to 6%, that's 4% more.
It's up to.
That's huge.
And I've heard that.
So
It's because.
your money may grow before you know it, and I'm not sure that's a good idea or not, but that's on what they're voting on this legislative session.
Well, and that would be across the state, right?
Right,
Whatever.
and it'd be 6% here in this valley.
But is it a set amount? Because I thought it was a sliding amount, like each county.
No.
It's sounding like it's gonna be a set amount, but we'll still have to go out to the voters to decide what percentage of that 6% or 4%, whatever it's set out, what we do with those percentages.
With increasing those percentages, they've also rolled in two other earmarkings, or whatever the proper word is, for that tax. And part of it is housing.
Part of it's
Part
housing,
of
that's
it is-
housing,
Yeah, so
childcare.
those are big chunks.
It's like thirds, I think.
Yeah, so it's possible, I mean, that gets increased, but then the obligation for those funds also gets.
But the whole point there is there's a lot of pressure on a little bit of discretionary money we have. And I like the idea of seeing what's available. We need to know what the options are. We can approve going forward. And then see what we can do.
Well, and I also want to report that we just got our February receipts, and it was much better than January, but we are on line for still a pretty high lodging tax revenue for the year.
Right.
And Gina does have one question.
Yeah, the DOLA grant asked us to answer this question. Does applicant jurisdiction have voter authorization to receive and expend state grants without regard to Tabor spending limits?
Sir, we de-bruised.
We de-bruised, so
We did.
no. But we don't, we're not
We do
under
not
any,
have
No, no,
voter authorization.
hold on. If we've de-bruised, the answer to that question is yes, we do have voter
Right.
authorization.
oh, okay.
Glad you're here.
Yeah,
That's why.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that
true.
way, not the other way.
That's exactly.
We do.
Okay.
Jim, and then we got.
Yeah, from your motion, it's not clear to me, and I don't know if it's clear to Gina, that she should go ahead, find out the appropriate grant to apply for and apply for it.
Right.
You just talked about looking into it and almost.
Well, that's what I meant by that, Jim. It's
Okay,
okay.
well, it sounded
But
to
it's
me
clear,
like that's
she-
a little.
Only way we're gonna know is if she applies for it.
Yeah, she has to apply, not just research and come back
Right,
and
no,
say, we have to.
No, she has to apply.
From your experience, what is DOLA's typical match?
This opportunity specifies a range between 20 and 50%. And we are required to talk to the regional program manager to get some further guidance on that. So that meeting is in the process of getting scheduled. We'll explain the topic, what we're doing here. We'll also, I think, have the opportunity to, I think it was you, Lucas, who said something about 10% sounds good kind of thing. We might have the opportunity to really negotiate. I don't know.
Okay.
See, that's the problem. You wanna say, well, it's still 10% limited. We don't wanna say, go and get $100,000 grant.
We don't want to say 50%.
No,
No.
that would be terrible.
Yes.
So we'll know more after we talk to the program manager, what their stance is on this.
So who's the regional program manager? Where's that?
It'd be Randy Sneed, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and Desiree?
Desiree is a
Oh.
Is she now most?
Yes. Oh,
We'd also,
So option.
time is, very limited, but we'd also like to explore any local philanthropic money.
okay.
That's what I was gonna suggest. There are other options to match it with, to help us. And
Yes.
we've had that happen before. And the way this is, I think there'd be a lot more people more liable to wanna help support this than some of the other things we've gotten into.
Well, and I do believe, Bianca and I are looking forward to meeting with Michael from Wolf Springs Ranch in the Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
And Navajo Nation might have other grant opportunities that, what is it, underserved or something like that.
Home or possibly indigenous,
So-
underserved people.
What would be ideal is if there's currently available money that could go towards a match, or that could be committed towards a match.
See, I think even the Navajo, I'm very familiar with them. We're working with them a lot, so I think they'd be willing to.
And they're very excited,
Okay,
yeah.
any other issues, questions? All
Nine.
right, motions on the floor.
I guess I'd like to see us do at least up to 10% of $100,000. That's 10,000. We've got that in the tourism budget if we can't find philanthropical or whatever donation stuff
Philanthropical.
to take care of that. if we can do that, that'd be great. If not, then at least we've given approval for up to 10,000 of $100,000 or 10%.
And then it's not, and if it looks like it's gonna have to be 15, then when you do, we can do a special meeting and work it, if that's the case. We've done that.
So at least we have some
But
direction.
let's get started and let's see where we are. I don't mind.
Nurturing the
We can
seed.
say the motion can be 10%, and come back to us if it's a little bit more.
So that's in the motion to move up to 10,000.
Right.
Second.
Yeah, it's been moved. The second is accepted.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of what we just said? Say aye, Lucas.
Aye.
Vogelsong, aye?
And aye. Moving along.
And thank you for
Yes,
appreciate
very
that
good.
very much. I think that
Thank you.
there is a lot of people excited.
Where do you live, Beyond?
I live at the Ravens Off-May location.
You live there
on
itself,
Valley Court,
okay.
yeah. I'm a little bit injured, I can hear that. That's my phone number at the top of the sheet, I think Lucas, you have my phone number. Those are the questionnaires we've emailed out to the ranchers so far, just if you're curious to what we started.
Okay, thanks.
You got it in
I'll
an
do
email.
as best I can, the proper, verbiage,
Okay,
range talk.
Okay.
well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Lucas, you're up again, county scholarship.
Oh,
Yeah.
Letter of support. Oh, and, a letter of support from the county would also be.
You got a draft? Send it
I
in.
can do that, yes.
Send it to Caitlin and
We know where to
get
find
it taken care of.
And you know where we work.
Yeah.
Okay, county scholarship. So the COSI scholarship, for some reason, Troy Baumgartner, a counselor for Custer County High School, reached out and said it was the last year of the scholarship, so paperwork didn't get done on time. So that's kind of went away. We kind of matched with Rotary for that scholarship. So he just asked, hey, would we consider maybe a county scholarship? They'll process it, or they'll put applications together if we want to have a different committee put together. But they already have a scholarship committee. I think it's something I would like to put some more, strategy session, maybe some different thought into our community outreach budget for next year. But keeping things simple and going forward this year, I'd like to just do an amount of 1,500 that's kind of around what we had committed to a month ago or whatever it was when we gave approval. Yeah, no, it's still in the, under the commissioner's community outreach money, and we have a school, so I'll make the motion that we give, that $1,500 to, a county scholarship, and that the school's scholarship committee administer that scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, Vogelsong, I'll second that motion for the scholarship to be at $1,500.
So you're gonna have somebody design a cool certificate.
Yeah, we can do that.
It'd be,
All right, been moved and seconded to come up with a new county scholarship. Fill in the gap here for $1,500. Any comments, public? All in favor, say aye, Paul.
Vogelsong, aye.
Lucas?
Aye.
Kanda, aye.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a board member. Who's presenting?
No, after prom donation.
Oh, there it is, I'm sorry.
Stand
I
up.
put a check mark by scholarship and it went past the prom, I'm sorry. Go ahead, you guys, you still.
Usually we do this in, whenever, about a week before prom, whatever that
Yeah,
meeting
we
is.
did.
And Troy and I just got on it right away. We gave $800 last year. I think.
$801.
Yeah, I think $500 is just fine. So I'll make the motion to approve $500 out of the same fund, our community outreach fund, for the after prom donation.
Vogelsong, I'll second that motion.
Okay, discussion? It's worthwhile, keeps the kids out of too much trouble.
If I recall correctly, we did 801, so you could outdo Silver Cliff by $1.
That's right. What did Silver Cliff do?
Well, I don't think they've had any.
Oh, we beat them this time. They have to beat us.
Oh, we started first.
Yeah, I think Silver Cliff maybe was 501.
Okay.
No, round numbers, make for better accounting.
Kathy, what do you-
Why are you suggesting to decrease it from last year?
We've decreased all of our budgets, so, I put less in community outreach this year. I think it went from, I would look
We didn't have
at
a-
the specific numbers, but I took it from like 15,000 down to $8,000.
and then
So,
Vince, in the back here, Vince Cook, needs it for oil. Right, Vince?
Yes.
In motion.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor of the after prom donation of $500, say aye. Lucas?
aye.
Volos on aye.
Kanda, aye. Now can we do the workforce housing board?
So we took it from, it's kind of gone down from 23 was 10,000, 24 was 8,000, and this year we set it at 6,000, so. Just trying to get the general fund to balance out, so. And that was kind of what was recommended to us. Right. But then,
Okay. Housing board member approval.
so we have another member of the community that wants to join the Workforce Housing Committee. It'd be Mr. Bob Fulton, a town of Westcliff trustee and a member of their planning commission, has expressed interest in it. So, and the committee, was unanimous in recommending that Mr. Fulton be formally installed in the Custer County Workforce Housing Committee by the BOCC.
Those of you that don't know it, Troy Bumgardner, Barry King, Steve Laswell, Mike Lieberman, Pamela Boots, and Tom Pecker. And then we had one more.
I would add one more, so we've been running thin on that, having a hard time meeting quorum last year, but we're getting more and more people that are interested in all of our boards, so it's a good thing.
Objection?
No objection.
I'll make the motion to approve Bob Fulton as a member of the Workforce Housing
I'll
Committee.
second that. Any other discussion? Anybody know Bob?
I know Bob.
He's a great guy. He'd be good on the board.
Actually, he was at the lead board meeting yesterday.
Okay, all in favor of Bob Fulton on the Workforce Housing Committee, say aye. Paul?
Volos on aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, anybody know what an IQS web system is? That's up next, and conditions signature, that would be, where is she?
Sounds like your name.
I know. That's there, where is it? You see it? I don't have it that way.
Right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay, this is for local governments and state agencies in Colorado to use the Incident Qualification System, the IQS web software to track wildland fire qualifications and their personnel. That's what it's all about. And Robin Knappy is our OEM that is working this, and it's a very good thing to have. Keep track of.
All these things to do.
And all this does the goal is to work productively with agencies to ensure data entry, verifying program requirements are met and resources are available to meet and respond to the needs within the state of Colorado.
it just opens up more information.
more information that's
Access.
available on the website. And all this required was a signature, and I wanted to bring it to the board to make sure that,
Basically says we'll keep the program updated from our end, and they'll give us access to the program. If we don't do that, they'll cut off our access. So Robin says it's okay. It's all in her, really.
it's a good thing, so I'm just asking for our approval here. And I will sign this. So,
There's
you got your copy of it. So all in favor, say aye.
We need a motion.
Oh, excuse me, we need a motion.
motion.
I asked for approval, so I'll ask for a motion to approve this.
I'll make the motion to, you made the motion?
No, I said,
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the IQS web system terms and conditions.
Lois on second that motion.
okay, any other questions? All in favor, say aye, and Lucas.
Aye.
Paul,
Lois on aye.
Kanda, aye.
That's good, just opens communication. System.
Now, it's what we've all been waiting for. The United States Forest Service
Forest
has
Service.
been waiting patiently in the back.
Yes.
Sure,
Thank you.
I am sure you
I
have my
know you-
contact info.
Good to see you again.
Thank you, you too.
I'm here.
Good to meet you.
At least this
Good to
time
see
it's
you
not
again.
out of fire.
I know.
The hands get warmer as.
Come on up, Jeff.
Grab me a seat.
I know.
I'm the mayor.
Troublemaker.
Good to see you.
Okay, speak loudly, and
All right,
you've
I
got
can
the
do that.
floor.
Yep,
Yep, Destiny Chapman, I'm the district ranger for the San Carlos Ranger District. I'm based out of Canyon City, and we have Jeff here that works out of the West office as our local representatives. Introduce yourself.
Excuse me. Yeah, Jeff Luthier, San Carlos Ranger District. I've been here 25 years. So, moved here about 2000. So just cover all the National Forest System lands in Custer as well as part of Pueblo, Fremont, and Warfield counties.
And he's camped on every bit of it.
Yeah.
trees are only the biggest stuff.
Appreciate y'all's time today. We try to do this as an annual update, just to let you know what the Forest Service has been working on, see if there's any questions that you all may have, or any information that we can provide. So, just really continuing with our regular course of business. Some of you may have seen some new Forest Service boundary marker signs along Highway 96 and along Highway 165. So we do that when we're doing work along private boundary lines, so we make sure that we're on National Forest System lands and not working on private property. So those boundaries are being posted in anticipation of us doing some fuel break work along some of those major roadways as part of our potential control location project that we'll be working on. Of course, all of that is funding dependent. We do have our own crews that can do some of the work by hand here and there, but if you see some of those boundary signs, that's what that is in anticipation of. We did work with Colorado Parks and Wildlife just a couple weeks ago to do a bighorn sheep relocation into the South Hardscrabble drainage. So there's now a new bighorn sheep herd on the Ranger District, which is really exciting. So sheep don't generally move a whole lot, so there's still the herd over in Hardscrabble off 96, and then now we have this new herd. And last I heard, they were all doing well in there and exploring their new homes. So that
You
was
didn't
really
lose any in
exciting.
the rock slide, did you?
No, not that I know of. I don't know what's buried under the pile of rocks.
A little bit of property.
But yeah, that was a great, exciting project in partnership with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. We'll pursue with our ongoing trail maintenance that we do every year. And every spring there seems to be some blowdown event, and our crews stay pretty busy. We don't have any seasonal employees this year, so we'll do as much work as we can and really rely on our partners, Trails for All, Backcountry Horsemen, some other partner groups that have always been tremendous in helping us with clearing trails. Different rec events that happen each year will continue to happen. There's a big ultra marathon that happens in the Sangres in the fall. There's some other foot races that take place during the county during the summertime, so those will continue this year as well. And then our campgrounds are slated to open mid-May, as they usually do. Those are concessionaire operated, so those operations will continue as they normally do. Anything you want to add, Jeff?
We're here.
I got one question. Is there anything talk or plan to bring back or repair any of the asphalt you guys have? It's in pretty bad shape in a lot of
sorry.
places, but I was
Oh,
worked
Lake
Wetmore for quite a while down San Isabel.
Okay,
And the access to a couple of the 4th century, which is access roads.
Yep.
Either we need to fix them or we need to remove the asphalt for it can be road base. Is there any talk about that?
so we do have, we got funding through the Great American Outdoors Act. We're just waiting for a final budget to get passed. We're operating a continuing resolution right now that expires on March 14th, and we'll see if there's a funding bill that is passed at that point or not. But we're waiting for a full year appropriation for that money to then be released. And there is a paving project around Lake Isabel. And part of that is going to be, especially in the campground areas, removing some of that asphalt and turning that back into gravel, because asphalt is really hard to maintain. And we can't keep up with it. So yes, that is a project that we have slated for this year. I can't really give you much of a timeline on it or anything and how far our funding will get as far as fixing some of that. But yes, there are some issues for there for sure.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Any other questions? What about South Hardscrabble, the old washout area? Letting people walk through there?
Yeah. You've
there's-
been down there, yeah.
Yeah, there's no closure order in place or anything, so it's not motorized access through there. You can park on either end, off of 387 or off of 165. But yeah, it's not closed for any reason.
And the rains haven't made any worse last summer.
Not last summer, but since you've been in there, it's a little worse. But you could get through, I can get to meals through there, just.
Can you?
Yeah. So, but it's stabilized quite a bit since you were down there.
Yeah, that's good.
So, I mean, but it got a little worse, but you've seen it, yeah. It's impressive, it's really vegetated. That north facing stuff that was on the right-hand side as you're going down, that was all.
That was really bad.
Dark timber. It took probably 3 years. Now it's gonna be probably one of the coolest aspen patches you'll ever see.
I bet it is. That's what aspen do.
Yeah.
They bring the pine trees
The
back.
aspen and the deer and the elk love
That's
fire, so, and that's why the sheep are in there now. It created some pretty impressive sheep habitat on the south facing slopes.
A lot of
down there.
grass.
Grass, shrubs, big rocky outcroppings. They've got plenty of escape cover, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's thinking they ought to do really well in there,
Yeah, I bet.
yeah.
But yeah, it's open to the public.
Good. And then what's the name of the campground that's the oldest campground in the United States?
Well, so technically that would be Squirrel Creek.
Mm-hmm.
The Davenport campground is the recreation of that, and that's a tent only campground, but the old Squirrel Creek campground is down close by Pueblo Mountain Park.
Yeah, that was the first one U.S. ever
Ever been.
First developed
right here,
campground.
first developed campground. Put it in your tour.
Yeah, we rebuilt the campground above there called Davenport. We found Arthur Carhart was the guy that his first Forest Service job was here in Westcliff when the Forest Supervisor's office was in Westcliff. So he came to Westcliff, designed the first recreation plan for the Forest Service. Built those campgrounds coming out of Pueblo into Beulah, just on the Pueblo side, the old original 1920 campground. And then we rebuilt the Davenport campground on the Custer side.
Yeah.
We found his original drawings and
right?
rebuilt it according to that. So you get down to Davenport. And we've got some pretty impressive, interpretive telling folks about it and that kind of stuff.
Great.
Yeah. So it's a unique thing in our world for sure.
Yeah.
Being Arthur Carhart's kind of up there with, Teddy Roosevelt.
Exactly.
All the Leopold in the Forest Service and natural resource world. So This was where he showed up first. I went and dug through some of the Wet Mountain Tribune, those microfiche things on the newspaper. And in 1919, when when he first got here, we did a Arthur Carhart Day in the park and that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, that was neat. Okay, any questions for him? Anybody? Anybody online? Go
Just
ahead.
out of curiosity, how big was the herd that was moved in?
There ended up being 20 altogether.
On the road and bridge aspect, you guys tear that asphalt out and change it to gravel, are we gonna be responsible to maintain that gravel, grading it?
We have a contract to do some of it. What, is
Yeah,
it still
so-
gonna be there?
At our meeting this afternoon, we'll talk about the Schedule A road agreement stuff and what's covered under that agreement.
At least we don't have to do the whole road anymore.
But I don't remember exactly which roads around the lake are part of the Schedule A agreement or not.
Of course, there are other entries too. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, with that, any other items of business for anybody? I don't think we have any scheduled. And back down to public comment, if you have something to bring up for us, feel free, Jim.
Yeah, the last meeting, I think I talked a little bit about asking what y'all or what Dominic or whatever was gonna do about cuts to various programs from the federal level. And most sort of deferred that to the fact that it hadn't happened yet, how can they plan for that? So I thought I'd start again, but this time to entreat you guys as the leaders of this county, which voted overwhelmingly to reinstall the current administration. And as a result of that, promised processes and policies have been implemented which have or will directly affect the welfare of this county, and it will negatively affect it. For instance, Medicaid is going to get cut. Now, I'm saying it is going to get, as it may or may not. It's going to, because the House passed a budget process thing where they had to cut $850 million from a certain agency, and the only way to do that is cut Medicaid. This county depends on Medicaid for its clinic. If we cut Medicaid and the recipients are ending up having to leave the county to use some other method to get their medical care, the clinic is going to lose money, and the clinic will go belly up. Because, in part as well, because Medicare is probably going to be a target as well. We have almost 400 children receiving Medicaid, and I think 350 elderly people getting Medicaid. So that's an issue. SNAP has been cut. That affects our kids and the less well-to-do people in the county. USDA's cut. There's fewer meat inspectors. That's going to delay marketing beef. Cuts to IRS at the Social Security. That's inconvenient to all the taxpayers here. And then the last one was a executive order to create something called the Sovereign Welfare Fund. If you don't know what that is, it's a federal program to be able to sell off public lands without regard to the resources they're on or they're under. And that money goes to the federal government. No proviso is made to give the states any compensation for the resources of that land. So basically, San Isabel Forest, chunks of it can be sold to the highest bidder, and they can do whatever the heck they want with it. And we don't get anything. New Mexico has some land where they have oil leases. Those would go away. Somebody could buy that property, do the oil, and New Mexico would lose all that money. At any rate, what I'm asking for, begging you to think about doing, because you're either fine with all of this, or worse, you support all of this, or this is dissatisfying and outrages you as it does me, and you would have the desire to speak out about it. So I'm asking you, for Custer County, for me, to speak for Custer County directly to our representatives in Congress, the Republican ones in this state, our other rural counties, go out, seek what other rural counties are doing and bond with them to tell the administration that you're hurting us and you're ultimately going to be killing us. So it's time to slow down, do the proper governing, and keep in mind those people who elected you in the first place. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? All right, thanks, Jim, and I will adjourn this meeting at, what time is it? 10:21. Thank you, everybody.